The mosque is a place that is close enough for Muslims. We can say it is like the second home. Moreover, during Ramadan, the mosque becomes a very close place because the intensity of visiting the mosque, either to pray, read the Quran, or stay in the mosque, i'tikaf, really increases. This time we'll briefly discuss the mosque according to Said Hussein Nasr. Islamic art is closely related to the spiritual dimension of Islam. According to Hussein Nasr, the mosque is the sacred art of Islam that contains many spiritual symbols. Muslims must know very well the meaning of the existence of a mosque. It is always associated with the market as a center of economic activity, school as a center of scientific activity, palace as a center of political activity. According to Nasr, the mosque is the sacred art par excellence in Islam, which functions as a recapitulation and recreation of the order, harmony, and peace of the universe that was chosen by God as the house of worship for Muslims. By praying in a mosque, a Muslim means returning to the center or the bosom of the cosmos, not externally but through the inner points that links the mosque to cosmic principles and rhythms. The very word mosque is a translation of masjid in Arabic, which means a place of prostration or sujood, which is the position when a person's forehead during prayer touches the ground in total submission and complete surrender to God, without any intermediary, facing God by bowing and prostrating both the body and the soul in the ground. The first mosque was the house of the Prophet Muhammad in Medina. The mosque at that time had the humble floor but was touched by the forehead of the greatest servant of God, the forehead of the perfect man, thereby, according to Nasr, sanctifying the floor of the mosque and returning the floor to its purity as the earth at the beginning of creation. It is important to remember that the Prophet Muhammad first prayed before the throne of God, Al-Arsh, before he prayed upon the ground, Al-Farsh. So Farsh, earth, becomes a kind of reflection of Arsh, God's throne. By touching his forehead to the ground, he gave special meaning to the floor of his house, making it the first mosque. It is this kind of sanctification that, according to Nasr, gives new meaning to the ground and the carpet that covers it. Quote, the carpet, whether of simple white color or full of geometric and arabesque patterns, reflects heaven and enables the traditional Muslim who spends most of his time at home on the carpet to experience ground upon which he sits as purified and participating in the sacred character of the ground of the mosque upon which he prays. At the beginning of the prayer, a Muslim stands directly as a primordial human. Therefore, the space of the mosque, as an extension and recapitulation of the sacred space of the cosmos, is formed according to the nature of the rite, which is very important to be performed in the mosque, that is, ritual prayer. The prayer is performed by human beings not as fallen beings, but as the vicegerents of God on earth, realizing their theomorphic substance which stands on the vertical axis of the existence of the cosmos and being able to pray and call directly upon God. The materials of any mosque are actually the same as the materials of temple or church. However, when a Muslim is performing daily prayers in a mosque, he feels a deeper and solemn sacredness than when he is performing them in a church. This is due to the existence of a collective unity that reflects the different atmosphere of the materials. The important thing is not whether it uses existing materials and techniques, but what it does with them. The Kaaba should also be quickly mentioned to be the earliest sacred architecture of Islam. According to Nasr, the Kaaba, with the axis of heaven which directly penetrates the earth, is an earthly reflection of the heavenly monuments which is also reflected in the human heart. The harmony of the dimensions of the Kaaba, its balance and symmetry, is at the center of the Islamic cosmos, which is the center of the earth around which Muslim pilgrims circumambulate and toward which all Muslims turn in their daily prayers. The mosque as a sacred art reflects the fundamental principles in which it reflects the divine value or the spiritual dimension. As a space, the mosque reflects a cosmos, so it follows the principle of the unity of the cosmos in the Islamic worldview and what lies beyond the cosmos with the unity of the divine principle. Islamic cosmology always emphasizes God as the sole source of all things, which in the cosmos he regulates and connects anything below him. The planes of being connects the physical realm to the metaphysical realm. all move dynamically in a harmonious and balanced archetype. It is said in the Quran, "We shall show them our signs upon the horizons and within themselves till it becomes clear to them that it is the truth." In the Islamic worldview, the cosmos is full of signs of God. Thus, Muslims see every aspect of the cosmos not as a mere phenomenon which is empty of meaning, but as verses or signs of God. According to Nasser, the mosque also shows a similar reality. In the view of Muslims, the mosque is a sign of God, and the simplicity, emptiness, and poverty of its forms and patterns reflects the signs of God. In this respect, a Muslim who is standing solemnly in the mosque must be aware of the ontological status of the word as needy and poor, while God is the self-sufficient and the rich. Quotes, "As for the space, its stillness reflects the pacifying presence of the divine word, which echoes through it, while the rhythmic division of the space by means of arches and columns is the counterpart to the rhythm of cosmic existence, which punctuates the phrases of the life of man as well as the cosmos, both of which come from him and return to him in accordance with the Quranic verse, 'Truly we are God's, and unto him we return.'" According to Nasser, the emptiness is found in Islamic architecture and art in general. The emptiness of the mosque, even though it has been decorated richly, is related to the spiritual poverty as emphasized by the Prophet. "Spiritual poverty is my glory." The emptiness in the mosque, which is related to spiritual poverty and the sense of the presence of the Spirit, is caused by the constant emphasis on the doctrine of divine unity or Tawheed. Therefore, Islamic art is aniconic. This aniconism is due to the emphasis on the divine transcendence, in which before His Majesty all planes of being are reduced to nothingness. This is confirmed by the Quran. "There is no God but He. All things perish save His face." With the neatness of the furniture and the cleanliness of the floors that are continuously maintained, the interiority of the mosque evokes a sense of the sacred through the very emptiness, which, even though non-existent, manifests the presence of the Spirit. Quote, "The ether, although not visible in itself, serves as the substratum for the gross elements of traditional cosmology. Air serves as the vehicle for the transmission of the Word of God, which resonates periodically throughout the spaces of the Islamic habitat. When one enters a traditional mosque or home, the very emptiness of the space draws attention to the invisible, as does the experience of the ground, upon which one can only walk after taking off one's shoes. This touching of the ground with one's hands and face in prayer creates the awareness of the hallowedness of the earth by virtue of the act of that most perfect of creatures who, in touching the earth with his forehead in total submission to God, sacred it for all subsequent generations of Muslims." Geometric patterns, according to Nasser, are an illustration of the Hermetic principle. They also explain an important aspect of Islamic teaching, showing cosmic reality as God's primordial revelation. The sacred architecture of Islam is built to celebrate the majesty of God, and mathematical patterns as ornaments upon various facades correspond to the inner structure of the cosmos. An architectural utility to spiritual significance must also be considered. Aside from protecting from rain and heat, the dome is also a symbol of the heavenly vault, and its center the axis mundi that connects all planes of cosmic existence to the one. Nasser continues, "The octagonal base of the dome symbolizes the throne and pedestal and also the angelic world. The square or rectangular base the corporeal world on the earth. The stalactite or muqarnas structures represent reflection here below of the supernal archetypes, the descent of the heavenly abode towards the earth and the crystallization of the celestial substance or ether in terrestrial forms. The external form of the dome symbolizes the aspect of divine beauty or Jamal, and the vertical minaret divine majesty or Jalal. The Persian arch moves upward like a flame towards heaven, and the transcendence and the Maghribi arch inwardly toward the heart, which symbolizes the same principle in its aspects of immanence." Understanding the symbolic aspects of the forms is very essential in order to know their spiritual meaning. According to Nasser, the forms become the means for the one to penetrate into the architectural world, to create a sacred quality whereby earthly forms come to signify realities beyond the earthly realm. Light in this regard also plays an important role, as the Quran asserts, "God is the light of the heavens and earth." And in Hadith, the first being created by God was light, but in another hadith, the first being created by God was word. So in essence, light and word are identical. For Nasser, it is not accidental that the place to call the prayer in the mosque isn't in the minaret, which in Arabic is called al-manara, literally meaning the place of light. The echo of the word and the light sanctifies all directions that it reaches, and it creates a sense of the presence of the One. According to Nasser, light doesn't only define the spaces in Islamic architecture, but also plays a major role in the coloring of the room. Quote, it also plays a central role in making possible both the use of intensely white structures which reflects the purity of the desert and the leveling of all multiplicity before the One according to La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, and the use of intensely colored edifices which appear as an earthly reflection of the paradisal states. If white becomes a symbol of the unity of a single reality, then the various colors resulting from the polarization of light become symbols of the manifestation of the One in the many and dependence of the many upon the One. If various colors are considered to symbolize the planes of cosmic existence, white becomes a symbol of being, which is the source of all existence. For a Muslim, the mosque is very significant not only as a place to pray, but also as a place to bow, ruku, and prostrate sujud in order to realize his non-existence, so that he doesn't bear witness anything, including himself, but the omnipresent. And the state keeps being felt even if he is no longer in the mosque. As God says, wheresoever you turn, there is the face of God. See you soon.